Salut les PM, my name is Gregor, and today let's see how to write useful, actionable, and gorgeous product requirements with Obsidian.
Have you met Mike?
Mike wrote a guide on how to write product requirements in an agile way. The article is the precipitation of Mike's multi-decades experience in building software. The pragmatism is what I appreciate the most in his approach. Nonetheless, he doesn't surrender on the core principles. To describe real agile requirements engineering, Mike used ilities. He first three are here to make sure you hit the target, that the product serves the intended purpose. There is evolvability, but he also says survivability. The idea behind is that your requirements will be at first meek and disjointed, but as you're ideating with your users, they are refined and extended. As the requirements flow into a story, they undergo a natural selection process where only the most relevant and valuable content survives. Hidden behind the first two is longevity. The requirements must survive the trials of time. With those three, Mike was trying to not say agility, but that's the ility that stuck with me here. The other four are to make your life easier. Automatability, to easily reformat, add, subset, and transform the requirements. But above all, easily link your requirements. Next is work manageability. Wait, what? That is not a good one. Let's ask ChatGPT. All right, decomposability. Yes, that one works. So decomposability, or the ability to decompose requirements into small item of work. How small, would you ask? To briefly answer that question, I have the following analogy. In an hourglass, only small grains of sand can flow through. Pebbles would get stuck. At the top, that's your backlog. At the bottom, that's the value you want to realize. A story that through time doesn't flow down is probably too big. Flexibility, as start with some high-value user stories and work back into the full requirements framework as you learn by implementing. I would add, don't micromanage on how to deliver, stay on the what and why. Don't tie your teams to strict requirements. Everybody requires space to be creative. Remember, it's hard. Don't suck the fun out of it. Traceability is be transparent about how you connect the requirements, the work, and the validation of the product. Portability. The framework should require spending the least amount on special tools. On that topic, I recommend the following video from No Boilerplate. In one picture, this is the framework to write product requirements in a real agile way. Let's take a look at the items above the green line. At the core, we have the use cases. On the left, the domain analysis docs. And on the right, the behavior-driven development scenarios. This is the critical trinity. You don't need more. Let me show you how it would look like in Obsidian. Let's say my team set up a Git repo. I'm cloning it, and I will add a docs folder. Now, we turn the docs folder into an Obsidian vault. Obsidian is a powerful markdown editor, but let's start with the basics. Let's simply create 3 folders for our trinity. Regarding use cases, I recommend the following read. Stay tuned for a dedicated video on use cases. In use cases, I'll create a new use case that I'll name Open Project. Start with some front matter, and don't skip that part, it's important. Remember, every time you skip front matter, a baby seal dies. Obsidian calls front matter properties. What I like to do is right away create several headings for the 5 W's. Don't need the how for the moment. If I don't feel verbose, I'll do bullet points. As I type, I realize that self-registering is a use case on its own, and more details are required. But instead of bloating that use case, I'll create a dedicate one for it with the extract feature. Obsidian will prompt me to name the use case. There it is. Obsidian created it for me. Let's focus on the new use case for a minute. Here again, I'm having a hard time writing prose. Let's do a diagram instead with Mermaid, as Obsidian supports it out of the box. Mermaid is a library that lets you create diagrams and charts using simple text instructions. Start by adding a code block. Then specify this is a Mermaid code block and start building the diagram. I like to start by simply listing all the actors and systems involved in the use case. Here I'm using hexagon nodes for users and round edges nodes for system, but this is obviously up to you. You'll notice that I have the same note on the left in editing mode and on the right in preview mode. To do so, I open the command palette with Ctrl P and search for right and select split right. Then make sure to set the right panel in preview mode. Mermaid uses a very simple language to create relation between nodes. To link actor 1 to system 1, I use the ID actor1, followed by an arrow, then by the ID sys1. To qualify this relation, I can add a verb in the arrow. Very quickly you can draft a complete use case. Check the following documentation and sandbox to discover Mermaid. Another thing I want to show you is how to use templates. I can never remember the structure of a BDD test, so I created a template. When adding a new BDD test, I simply insert the relevant template. Alright, that's it for now. Have a good one, and let's do product.